When you first upload your model to Nira, the default camera angle may not be ideal. So in this quick video, I'll show you how to set a better starting view, something like more like this, and also how to remove some of these floating bits that you see here. The goal is to make the model look as clean as possible right from the start. So in order to do this, you just want to go to the edit mode, and then you'll see viewport. This will give you access to the clipping volume tool, and this will allow us to clean up and remove a big portion of these floating parts that are way far off from the focus of what we want to have on this model. I usually like to orient the clipping volume to some main element of this model. So it might be a road, or in this instance, it's the bridge itself. And so I like to go to the top view, and I'll just press Alt-T to get to the top view. You can also click the camera options top button here, and that'll take you to the top view as well. And I'm just going to orient this or position this to kind of line up with the bridge. And you'll see that it's kind of cutting through the bridge a little bit. So I'll adjust this by enabling the gizmo, and then just rotate this to, again, try to align the edge of the clipping volume with the edge of the bridge itself. And that's probably good enough. I'm going to expand this a little bit so I can get a little bit more of the bridge and some of the surrounding area. And then now I'll go back to the perspective view, and you can press Alt-W or perspective button there to get back to that. And I have some floating bits here, so I'll need to resize this, and I'm going to disable the gizmo button because I don't need to rotate it any further. I'm just going to resize this to get rid of as much of the floating bits as possible. And then you can also switch to some of the other camera angles, like maybe the left view by pressing Alt-E, or in this instance, you can also click on the button there. All these hotkeys are available through the little help icon here, so you can see some of the different hotkeys for the different camera angles there. And I'll maybe resize the bottom to meet up the sides, and that probably is good enough. Actually, let's get rid of a bunch of the stuff on the side here and shrink it just a tiny bit more. Now, we don't necessarily, you may actually notice this, there's some flickering parts here. So in that situation, I might want to resize this to include a little bit of the ground so that the clipping volume is not directly aligned with the mesh or that portion of the mesh. So this looks pretty good, and I don't see many floating bits, and this probably gives me a nice little glimpse of not just the bridge, but maybe the surrounding area of it. And again, you can tweak it as much as you like, but I'm pretty happy with what I have here. And then all I need to do now is just click Draw, and that more or less keeps the clipping enabled, but it disables the drawing of those little handles. And if I ever want to go back to the original, I can just click the checkbox here, and then I have the full model again. And if I wanted to adjust the region to back to where it is, I can just click reset the boundary and or the rotation. So I'm liking what I have here, and I can just click a save to click save, and now I have this bridge exactly how I want it to be presented. And then the next thing I want to do is maybe find a nice camera angle and or a good perspective of what I want my viewers to see when they first load this model. And then I just click set starting view. And so this will provide a new default thumbnail. So when they go to view this model, it'll have this as their default thumbnail. And when they go to view this model, this is the exact camera angle they want to see. Now you'll notice that when I'm rotating the model, it's now rotating at some position underneath the bridge. If there's a very specific position I want to have rotate, maybe right on the top of this bridge road, then I can click right there, and then now I can zoom out, and then it will preserve that position, but I have to click the set starting view again. So again, it's always a good idea to kind of set a little bit of orbit just to see and make sure everything looks like it's where you want it to be. If you want it to be off of the model itself, maybe you want it in between the bridge, you can certainly do that just by panning your view. I'm just using my middle mouse button here to pan, and now you can see I'm just floating it above or beneath the bridge, but it's above some empty space there. And now I have this perspective and this particular orbit point. And then I just click Start View, and that will preserve that. So the next time I load this model, it's going to give me this exact view. I hope this all makes sense. And you'll notice that it gives you an indication that the thumbnail may take a few seconds to a minute or so to update, but the thumbnail will also show up. So when I click to view the model again, you should see this updated thumbnail. That's it. I hope this all makes sense. If you have any questions, let us know.